Two of our older riders here at FAB. We'll start off with Ronnie Harris. So Ronnie, in the Extreme 200 class for this year, how is that going so far?
We had a good start. I got a couple of third places, but on the last race of round 1, we had some suspension trouble, which put me out of round 3, and we didn't get many laps in yesterday either, but because obviously I don't want to go out and crash because I got Donington next weekend, but I had a good morning warm-up. I'm sort of warmed up, and I'll just see how I do in qualifying.
So what exactly was wrong with your KTM 85cc machine?
Well, we just before the round we'd had a complete rebuild on the engine and suspension, but my rear shock lost all its oil in I think it was qualifying. We didn't know until after race 2, so it was too dangerous to ride. But yeah, it's fixed now. We've had it rebuilt, and so far so good.
And what's the Extreme 200 class been like to race in so far this year? Of course, moving from the Mini GP 70 class.
Well, the 85 is a completely different bike. It's in a way it's easier to ride. In a way, it's harder to ride. It's because it's originally a motocross bike. It's more forgiving if you get the gears wrong, but in a way it's also it's less stable than the Metric kit because you're higher up. But so far there haven't been many people in the class, but hoping some more people come into the class, and it should be quite competitive.
And your brother is racing this round as well. What's it been like so far this year for him?
He had a good start to the year. I can't quite remember where he got at the round 1 and 2, but he was up there, and I think he's hoping to top 5s, top 4s, maybe even a podium this round.
And finally, in the British Talent Cup this year, moving up onto a bigger bike, bigger circuits, how have you found that step?
I had my wild cards last year, so I sort of knew where I was at when I got on the bike, but it's a lot different and it's a lot more competitive. But we got Donington next round, and it's a track that I know already from my wild card, so I'm sort of going to turn up and sort of know my way around, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, good luck for this weekend and next weekend at Donington Park.
Thank you.
And now, finally, Sullivan Mountsie racing last round as well at Lyd in the Extreme 200 class, having an epic battle with Casey O'Gorman. How was that for yourself on board the motorcycle?
Yeah, it was alright, to be honest. It was a bit annoying that we didn't end up getting past him, and then the team wanted to keep me hungry for Silverstone, so we didn't end up doing Monday, but that's just how it goes sometimes. But it was a really good weekend overall, and I ended up going back there for a bit more practice, and was only 1/10 off Charlie Nesbitt's 40.6, and way faster than me and Casey were going even when he'd done Monday, so it was really good. It showed the pace that I have around there, and it was just a fun weekend, good training, and just good time spending time helping Luke and a couple of the other riders like Seb, and just having some fun.
And going back to the last round, you had a small off on the back straight whenever you were having the battle with Casey. Why don't you just explain to everyone at home what mistake that was from either yourself or Casey?
So it wasn't really, it was Casey was trying to keep it pinned and took a bit too much curb, and as he's lost the rear, as I was a little bit faster through the left to the right, as I was keeping it pinned, he has a little roll off and goes back on it, and as he's rolled off, I'm keeping it pinned, and because of the nature of how our bikes are, which they are ultimately the same, but his is just a little bit faster down the straight, I basically tried to keep it pinned around the outside, and the one lap I do that, he has a moment and I'm on his outside, and as he's there on the curb, I have nowhere to go but the grass, and then he looks behind, but then it's too late, I'm already on the grass, and that's just how it goes sometimes. But I think I came out of that crash fine, nothing happened, and I just was ready to rock and roll for the next race. Just a bit of bike damage, but only a couple grass marks.
And next round at Donington Park for the British Talent Cup, I'm sure you'll be aiming to be fighting at the front. Sadly, the likes of Johnny Garness will not be there, and I believe even Emmanuel Brint and Reece Stevenson won't be there either. So what are you aiming for next round at Donington Park? Are you hopeful to be up there at the front?
The plan is to do what I try and do every weekend, which is to win, but we're not going to be there on Friday practice due to my GCSEs. So it's going to be a bit touch and go, going straight into qualifying and then 2 race warm-up race. So I hope I'm going to be able to perform as well as I can and just go in as I always do with a blast. But it's just about getting up to speed as quick as possible. But luckily it was we rode Donington Park GP last time we were there rather than National, so I'm pretty up to speed with the tracks. I know we've got the team, we've got the foundation, and I'm sure my teammates will be wanting to help me get up to speed as quick as possible. And just I'm ready to rock and roll now. Just a week before and my first GCSE on Monday, so a bit of stress and tender and revising here at the track. So we'll just have to see how it goes for my GCSEs. But as you say, Donington's coming up and I just can't wait for that round, and I hope you guys are all there and coming to Donington Park and see you there.
So we're here now with Charlie Huntingford. So Charlie, how are you feeling going into this weekend, and why don't you tell everyone what bikes you'll be racing on?
Yeah, so heading into this weekend, I'm just here to have a bit of fun and play around on the bikes. I'm riding a Metro Kit 70 and a KTM 85.
And what's made you pick the Extreme 200 class and the Mini GP 70 class to come here and race this weekend?
I picked the Extreme 200 class because there's a wider range of bikes you're able to ride and parts you're allowed to put on the bikes.
And of course you're racing the British Talent Cup this season. The opening round of Silverstone has came and it's gone. So how did the first round go for yourself?
Yeah, the first round went really well. We got started off with really good qualifying ahead of we had a really good successful Spain test. In the first race, we were consistently in the front group, finishing 10th, and in the second race, had a little bit of an error, hit a false neutral and came 14th, but overall, a really good weekend.
And Donington Park is next weekend, of course, for the British Talent Cup Championship. So how are you feeling going into that? Do you feel prepared? Is it a circuit that you like?
Yeah, Donington Park's my favourite circuit on the calendar, and we've just been speaking to Tom Oliver, and he's been saying the new surface is absolutely awesome, so can't wait.
And what makes Donington such a great circuit for yourself?
The undulation of the track. I think that makes it so special compared to other tracks.
And Red Lodge here this weekend, is this a circuit that you like?
It's alright, I've grown to like it a lot more than I used to, but on the bigger bikes it's a little bit tight, but it's a nice track.
And I'm sure you've kept up to date with round 1 of FAB, of course, at Lid. And the Mini GP 70 class, it's massive this season, so how are you feeling going into that?
Going into the 70 class, I'm just like looking at all the riders that are competing in it.
And have you got any hopes for this weekend?
No, just overall have some fun and hopefully get some good results.
Well, we wish you all the best of luck for this weekend and of course next weekend at Donington Park.
Thank you.
So we now have the Extreme 200 race, I believe. They all make their way onto the dummy grid and they should be released in just a moment. So the Extreme 200 series class, is a really exciting class in my opinion. What do you think of the class?
Yeah, it's an exciting class. It's an open class practically. You can race almost anything in this class as long as it adheres to the CC regulations. But Sylvain Mincy starts this race from pole position with Richard Holmes-Williams in second. Ronnie Harris begins the race from third, with Charlie Huntingford starting in fourth place alongside him in the second row of the grid, with Clayton Edmonds starting in fifth place and Phillips Roviak alongside him, with Zach Tureen, Noah Gilray, Will Harf and Ben Ridwell rounding off our grid. So pole position man, Sylvain Mincy, the number 4, looking incredibly strong. He looked strong in Lid. He had a great battle with Casey O'Gorman, but now what can they do as the riders head off on their warm-up lap?
Yeah, so really excited to see what these Extreme 200 class riders are made of. So of course, what happened last time out in Lid?
Yeah, last time out, great battles, especially between Sylvain Mincy and Casey O'Gorman. All eyes were on them. And one of the races that resulted in a slight tip-off from Sylvain Mincy. It was just a racing incident. Casey O'Gorman looked the wrong way over his shoulder as Sylvain Mincy went alongside him on the other side. So slight contact was made on the straight and Sylvain Mincy crashed out the race and he sat out for the rest of the weekend as he was preparing himself for Silverstone. But there is Will Harf. He looked strong in the Moto team qualifying earlier on and in the senior Minimotos this weekend. So he's in the Extremes this weekend. The first time this year he's been in the Extremes, and the first time I think in history he's been in the Extremes. So Will Harf, he's one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these two on the front row of the grid are definitely going to be on a massive. We're going to be having a really good tussle on the way towards turn 1. But now we get ready for the start of the Extreme 200 race. Pointing to the lights, and here we go. Sullivan Mounty on the left, and we go racing here at Red Lodge Kart Circuit in towards turn 1. And there it goes. I think that's Richard Holmes Williams trying to make his way around the outside, unfortunately unsuccessful in that one. Sullivan Mounsey still keeping in the lead here. They file their way in toward the 180 degrees corner here and getting that bike tipped in, but it's still the number 4 out in the lead of the race. Richard Holmes Williams carrying that speed there, trying to just fill in behind. There's a little bit of gap there toward the next bike of Ronnie Harris, and they tip their way in towards the next sequence of corners. Then of course into the flip flap we go, and carrying it down the Simpsons straight. And we'll start to complete the final, the fastest lap here of Red Lodge here. They paddle their way out of the last corner and towards the line. Sullivan Mounsey on top here. 11 laps to go.
Yep, he has 1.5 seconds at the line last time around, and Richard Holmes Williams still in second place on the 126 machine. He's trying to find the way past, and Sullivan Mounsey not showing on our time screens just yet as in first, so hopefully he has a transponder fitted to that motorcycle, because we've seen it cause havoc already today. But Ronnie Harris settled in third position at the moment. He had issues actually with his suspension last round, did Ronnie Harris, but he's back, and he's back looking very, very strong. Felix Soroviak also had some mechanical issues. He's changed motorcycles completely this round, so he is in fourth place on the 75 machine. Richard Holmes Williams, so he's managing to keep tabs on Sullivan Mounsey, which in itself is so impressive. They're doing 45.3s now, is the likes of Richard Holmes Williams and Sullivan Mounsey. So the gap right now is absolutely nothing between the front two.
Yeah, they're going right at it already with Richard Holmes Williams really trying to see if he can get past. I saw him on the inside there of turn number 2 there, going into Senna, and now out towards the straight here. Down the back straight we go, and heading in towards the back section of the circuit. They'll get the bike tipped in, and in towards this corner of the S's. Through the flip flap we go. Oh, it's gone off, and that's Holmes Williams, and he's gone off. That's a rare mistake from Holmes Williams. He'll get back on immediately. There's a bit of grass hair hanging off the handlebar, flicking that off, but he'll rejoin quite far down the grid here. Sullivan Mounsey now with the fastest lap of the race, 45.0 for the number 4.
Yep, 45.013 was the lap time of Sullivan Mounsey, but Rich Holmes was well dropped down the order after that fall, after that incident, and he should be able to get a bike restarted, remount, and kickstart it and get going once again. But Sullivan Mounsey using the back brake there, and a slight unsteady rear end there as the engine braking kicked in as he released that clutch. But there's Felix Soroviak leading the way from Zach Tureen and the 21 machine off Clayton Edmonds. So Clayton Edmonds trying to find his way past Zach Tureen, as Soroviak will not be, well, Soroviak's trying to find any way through, but Soroviak, as I said, different bike this weekend for him. It's almost like a Moto team style machine for him. He's not on his normal KTM 85cc. He's on a 4-stroke machine. You can hear its grunt coming out the corner compared to the whine of the 2 strokes. Slightly different setup, but once again, Soroviak still very, very quick in 4th place as well. And very, very close there was Zach Tureen to hit in the back of him. He managed to get out of it. He managed to sit with the bike just enough and get enough brake pressure on to not make contact, but that would have lost him a lot of momentum and a lot of time.
You can see there Clayton Edmonds there on the back of Tureen. They've had their way now down the back straight towards this next section of the course, and it looks to be, is there going to be anything here from Edmonds? Looking to the outside there. They're going to go into the flip flap to see if they can do anything, but nothing there. And I think they'll just carry their way with the momentum that they have and take it to the final chicane of the circuit, zipping their way past our wonderful cameras here and heading towards the turn 1 and 2. So currently Sullivan Mounsey still on top here with a 6.2 second gap to Ronnie Harris and Charlie Huntingford in P3 with that podium. Philip Sorowiak currently in P4. He's a couple of seconds behind that podium spot. So I think there will be a battle in the podium for the podium spots, but we're currently focused here on Zach Turan and just seeing if Clayton Edmonds once again go.
Yep, so at the front, it's still Soroviak who leads this battle from Zach Tureen and Clayton Edmonds just behind. But at the front of the entire race, it's Sullivan Mincy leading the way by 7 seconds from Ronnie Harris. Charlie Huntingford is in third place with Philip Soroviak, Zach Tureen and Clayton Edmonds in this battle in stream for 4th, 5th and 6th. Richard Holmes-Williams is all the way down in 7th after his crash earlier on as Noah Gilray in the Extreme 200 class this weekend. We're used to see him on a Mini GP70 machine, now just on the KTM 85. So Noah Gilray in 8th as Will Howarth crosses the line now in 9th place. Will Howarth slightly off the pace from what we're used to seeing them, but I think this is more of a long-term project. It's the first time we've seen this bike in the flesh, so still a lot of development work to be done as Ben Ridwell is in 11th, and there's Ben Ridwell getting lapped by Ronnie Harris, our man who is in 2nd place and the closest man to Sullivan Mincy, which is just crazy to say when it's a 7.6 second gap.
Yeah, so Ronnie Harris running really well here in 2nd place. He follows his way through the Warren here, and he's in a bit of a I want to say class of his own at the moment, running in P2. He's got quite a gap to set of a Moundsy, but Charlie Huntingford not too far behind back, about a second and a half. So I think there's definitely a battle brewing up here if Charlie Huntingford can get onto the back. But it'll be a big ask for especially for these. We join this battle with being led by Zach Toren and Clayton Edmondson and the 7th and 8th there. Switching now back to Ronnie Harris and the number 66 bike heading towards the 180 degrees. And like I said, he's now built that gap over Charlie Huntingford. So I think Charlie might be having a few issues at the moment.
Yep, this is the battle to watch, though. The battle for 4th place. Zach Tureen leading it from Clayton Edmonds, and Richard Holmes-Williams finding a way through Philip Soroviak, who's dropped all the way down this order, down this group, and already actually starting to lose some ground on them. So does Soroviak have a slight issue in this race, or is he just a bit startled? So we're going to have to wait and see what Soroviak can do. Obviously, he had that crash in Silverstone just a couple of weeks ago, and he's still on the mend from that, so maybe some after effects from that. But Zach Tureen leading this battle and leading away from Clayton Edmonds, but Richard Holmes-Williams looking down the inside on the 126 machine, now the outside as he tries to get a wide line into turn 2. They all take different approaches, take different lines, and all bunch up, almost ramming into the back of each other.
Yeah, that was quite close there, seeing both of the riders there, Soroviak and Holmes, trying to take the inside there side by side, now heading in towards the next corner. Holmes there on the outside, and he's going to take that position away from the half Polish rider.
Tipping into the back section of the circuit now, and now we go into the S's. A straight run out of here before they go onto the brakes once again towards Paddock Bend and towards the end of this lap. Zach Tureen, the 89, leading this group, but Richard Williams says otherwise. He looks down the inside and he makes the move stick, he makes it work. On the side of the tyre they go into turn 2, and then powering it out through, straight, flicking it to the right, trying to move all your body force, all your body weight to the other side of that tyre. But Richard Williams, he's currently on a recovery ride and he's doing a good job of it, making his way into 4th place after that fall earlier on in the race.
Yeah, it was really good him seeing Richard Holmes-Williams up there as he looks to be overtaken here. I think that is I'm not entirely sure who that was, my mistake, but he's on an absolute run here after that forward. But he does show that he has a race-winning pace, would you say?
Yeah, he certainly does. And race winning pace is Sullivan Mincy as well as we go into the last lap of the race for these guys. Sullivan Mincy on the number 4 machine, leading the way by 11.6 seconds in a land of his own from Ronnie Harris. Charlie Huntingford still in podium positions, but they're still battling and fighting for that 4th place position. Sullivan Mincy will not care though as he comes over the line and takes the race win. He wins in style. So Sullivan Mincy, a great race there from him and over the line. We'll wait to see what that gap's going to be. There's Ronnie Harris. He shows his way to the podium positions. 12.8 seconds was the gap at the line as they're casually coming over the line is Charlie Huntingford for that third place. Richard Holmes-Williams in fourth, then Clayton Edmonds, Zach Tureen and Philip Soroviak in seventh. We await for Noah Gilray and Ben Ridwell to come over the line for 8th and 9th. But what a great race we had there. It was Sullivan Mounty who led the way, and he dominated, and he caused the likes of Richard Holmes-Williams to crack under that pressure.
Yeah, that was really good to just try and put your rival under pressure. And he really did force him into his mistake. He really had to get Richard Holmes-Williams to go on a recovery ride, as I should be saying, making his way up to 4th place. Do you think he'll be frustrated that he didn't get a podium?
I think he's going to be more frustrated about the fall that he had. It was all unforced. He did it all by himself, it seemed. He just cracked under that pressure, and he lost a vital podium position. I'm sure we'll be talking about that tomorrow and rounds to come. So what a great race we had there for the Extreme 200 class. A great race for their first race of the day, but still plenty of action to come up here at Red Lodge. Coming up now will be race 2 of the Extreme 200 class, the open class here at FAB-Racing. A lot of different riding styles, a lot of different motorcycles, and a lot of talent making their way onto the grid for this time around. Richard Holmes-Williams, he's been looking strong all weekend in every single class that he's been competing in, but he does have the likes of Sullivan Mounty and Ronnie Harris to contend with.
Yeah, absolutely. As we said, Richard Holmes-Williams really proving his worth on those Extreme 200 bikes, and I'm really looking forward to this one because of course they're so different. As you said, there's a standard and an open class, if I believe, if I'm correct there.
Yeah, all these classes, this class is it's just kind of the open class here at FAB. There's not too strict of rules for what you can race. As long as it's within the CC and wheel sizes, you can pretty much race whatever, which is why, if you look at the grid, mainly pit bike machines making their way onto the grid for this time around. But you can see Sullivan Mounty trying to make his way onto the circuit, so as well Howarth. So yeah, plenty of different styles, pit bike machines, your normal traditional race motorcycles, as Ronnie Harris's bike has stopped on the grid, but he's managed to get it going once again. He's been having mechanical issues for the opening rounds of the season, so hopefully no issues for him.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a disastrous if he couldn't get that going. But luckily, he will be joining us in the action, and he will be Sullivan Mounty, who we're currently looking at on pole position. He'll be at Donington Park next week. That's really exciting for our current pole sitter, but he's got a job to do at the moment here, and we get underway for the formation now. Sullivan Mounty will be leading the way from pole position.
Yep, Sullivan Mounty, he will be trying to repeat yesterday's success, starting in pole position, trying to convert it to a race win. Richard Holmes-Williams will start the race from 2nd position after recently winning the senior Minimoto race. Ronnie Harris starts in 3rd with Charlie Huntingford in 4th place. Clayton Edmonds starts in 5th, and Philip Soroviak beginning this race from 6th place. Zach Tureen starts from 7th position. His bright yellow levers with Noah Gilray and Will Howarth in 8th and 9th, making their way onto the Extreme 200 class grid this year. Bren and Ben Ridwell will round out our 10 bike grid. So Lee Klaus awaiting on the grid for these riders, waiting on the grid for these talents before we can get underway. And wow, what a class we have here for the Extreme 200s. We see the class fluctuate in size and fluctuate between the riders, but they always produce some good racing.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a great race yesterday, so I'm already looking forward to this one. They're also really big, as you can see. They look bigger than they are on the camera, so you have to really get up close for this one. But this race, they point to the lights, and we get ready. Are we about to go? And here we go at Red Lodge. Sullivan Mounty with a really good start there. Ronnie Harris having a look on the inside, but he's in a slot into 3rd place, into the 2nd corner, and Richard Holmes-Williams already looking at the lead there of Sullivan Mounty. They all follow through the 3rd and 4th corner, and it all seemed to be clean here on that opening lap. No massive incidents just yet, but we follow now and pick up the number 4 of Sullivan Mounty, heading towards the run straight ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams. There'll be a definite battle. They've already got a lead to 3rd and 4th, these groups behind, but that'll be a big battle that'll be brewing all race long. We head now down towards the final chicane of the paddock bend and on towards the timing line to finish off the first lap. Fantastic stuff there from Solomon Mounty, getting the start he needed on that opening lap.
Yeah, he certainly did. The number 4 machine leads away from Richard Holmes Williams. Ronnie Harris in 3rd place at the moment. A slight gap between them though, but wow, what a group of what a group of riders we have here. Ronnie Harris leading the way in this from Charlie Huntingford. Phil Sorowiak just behind them, and then Clayton Edmonds just behind him. So a great a lot of young talent, British young talent that we have here. Majority of the riders raced or have raced in the British Talent Cup in the past couple of years and have been going very well, very fast. Ronnie Harris though will be competing next week at Donington Park, as so will the man who was looking down the inside there. That's Charlie Huntingford. He's looking for any move, any way past on these KTM 85cc machines. Ronnie Harris, he had more issues in morning warm-up as Charlie Huntingford looking down the inside. He had to back out of that one very quickly, but Ronnie Harris's motorcycle actually stopped at the side of the circuit and some petrol was coming out of the overflow, so potentially a carburetor issue for him in morning warm-up, but he gets going again, and he gets going very strong. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Last time around this battle, the fastest rider in it was Ronnie Harris at the front, so if 10 laps go in this race, it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. But yeah, as I was mentioning, all these riders have raced or is racing in the British Talent Cup next weekend, so you can go check them out at Donington Park. Of course, we are part of the road to MotoGP. At one point in the British Talent Cup, we were making up 60% of the grid, so it's great to see these young talents coming back here at FAB and coming back very strong.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic to see that we're producing these types of talents, and they're literally on your screen on the track here at Red Lodge, and it's been an absolutely fantastic battle. We see the number 66 there of Ronnie Harris still keeping Charlie Huntingford just in behind them as this battle continues to brew with a good amount of laps still to go. So there's so many opportunities for the number 76 rider of Charlie Huntingford to try and get past. They're heading now down the Simpson Straight and on towards the final chicane of the paddock bend and on towards the timing line, and then just picking up Philip Sorowiak just ahead of Clayton Edmonds in that battle for 5th. They're starting to separate a little bit, but that doesn't matter to us. There's still some great battles making their way onto the circuit, going on the circuit. So this is not far from over.
Yep, it's far from over at the moment. Charlie Huntingford, he's looking strong. He's managing to match the pace of Ronnie Harris, but can he find any way through? It's tricky to make a move on these bigger motorcycles, on these KTM 85cc machines. You really have to make it work. You really have to make it stick, and you have to make it early. It's all about trying to get a better drive out of the corner and get yourself alongside into the braking zone. That's where you can really just push your rival wide and make the move stick. Now they come round the final corner onto the main straight before they tip in the French curve. Very bumpy in this corner. No matter what bike you're on, you struggle to stay on, it looks like. But Philip Sorowiak having that battle at the moment with Clayton Edmonds. Clayton Edmonds just behind two completely different style machines, but yet both are as competitive as each other.
A fantastic battle we've got here for 5th, and let's see, Sorowiak just keeping ahead for the moment. Oh, onto the grass there goes Clayton Edmonds. That's going to throw him off in terms of confidence a little bit there, but I'm sure he'll be able to get straight onto the back of Sorowiak as we head through the S's and on towards the Simpson Straight. Towards now, we pick up the battle for the podium place between Ronnie Harris and Charlie Huntingford. Huntingford is just trying to see if he can do anything at the moment, heading towards French curve and in towards Senna. You saw that Huntingford on the inside just tried to poke that nose in, or should I say tire, the front tire in, heading to 180 degrees. Huntingford just trying absolutely everything in the textbook, but he's got to just make that move nice and bold if he wants to get past. That is, I believe that one of sprint into that on the side of the track.
Yeah, Ben Ridwell stopping at the side of the circuit. Disappointing there from him, but Charlie Hunterford is trying to get disappointment for Ronnie Harris, trying to take that podium position off of him at the moment. The 66 versus the 76, battling and jostling for position. 6 laps to go in this race though for the Extreme 200 class. Now it's going to be Hunterford who looks down the inside into the French curve, and he makes it work, he makes it stick, and it's Ronnie Harris who drops out of the podium places and down into 4th place. Does the 66 machine go? What does he have? Does he have a response, or is this where Charlie Hunterford tries to pull the pin? Now they're playing the game of cat and mouse, and we wait and see, will Ronnie Harris have the pace to match?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant Huntingford there getting through, but is this just a mind game of chess? You've got to ask yourself, has Ronnie Harris got anything in that locker of his to try and enable himself to get back past to head towards the final chicane in this final podium battle, heading towards the timing line. Absolutely fantastic here, but looks like Charlie Huntingford is already trying to pull out a gap here, heading in towards center curve, and they flick their way, leaning in towards turn 3. And we head in towards the 180 degrees, and Sullivan Mounty still at the top here. So Richard Holmes Williams falling off the pace a bit, 4 seconds now behind the number 4. So Sullivan Mounty making a massive lead there on Holmes Williams, who I thought was onto battle with Mounty all race long, but the main focus here seems to be Huntingford and Harris, but fantastic battles all the way through.
Yep, fantastic battles all the way through. I think all eyes will be on this battle for third. It's the closest battle on the circuit at the moment, as Ronnie Harris, he's trying to claim that podium position, the all-important podium position. Philip Stroviak, he's dropped off these 2 riders in 5th place at the moment. Philip Stroviak, last year's Extreme 200 champion, is now trying to catch up for 4th place. Can he do it? He's going to have to find something very, very special, but he was involved in a crash going on to the back straight at Silverstone, and he broke his hand in that one. It was not a fault, no fault of his own, just one of those racing incidents. As now Ronnie Harris comes through this back section of the circuit, yellow flag still out for Ben Rigdwell, who pushes his bike off the side of the circuit. But all eyes still in this battle, and still on the eyes, Ronnie Harris's eyes will still be on the rear tyre of Huntingford. There's still no way through.
Yeah, still no way through. You said that Ronnie Harris is still trying absolutely everything. They're heading in towards the second corner. There's still 2 laps to go now of this race today. You can see on the graphics it just ticked down towards 2 laps, so there's still something left in there, but Ronnie Harris is going to have to deploy absolutely everything to get that move done. But Charlie Huntingford, he was continuing to gain and just keep an eye on what Harris was doing, and managed to get through in that crucial move, and that'll give him a good couple of points for the championship.
Yep, a good couple of points, but now Sullivan Mountsey leads the way on the final lap of the race. He's looking strong, and he looks like he's having to play the elbow down almost every single corner. The 180 degrees hairpin reminds me of the hairpin at Mallory Park, but now we power out through towards the straight run, and he has a moment there. He's pushing clearly on this final lap. The only person that can beat Sullivan Mountsey is himself. We've seen it time and time again. He pushes himself to the limit. He pushes himself and tries to get everything out of his own body, out of the motorcycle, and now heads into the final corner. The bike is protesting, but Sullivan Mountsey, he does not care. He's the race winner once again, the number 4 winning around this Red Lodge circuit. A wave to the camera in the Extreme 200 class. Richard Holmes Williams should come home in second, but who is going to get third? It looks like it might be Charlie Huntingford who's going to claim this final podium position from Ronnie Harris. No answer back, as Noah Gilray also crosses the line down in 8th position. So a great race there for those guys. Now Philip Stroviak rounding out the top 5 finishers at the moment. Wait for Clayton Edmonds to cross the line as well, but Sullivan Mountsey, no reply from anyone else on this grid. 12.9 seconds at the line, and almost a crash on the final lap.
Oh, absolute dominance there from Sullivan Mounty. I was looking at that moment at that corner just before the run show. I was like, no, you don't need to do this yourself, Sullivan. But he's managed to hold that on, and he goes on to win that race. There you are. Sullivan Mounty is your winner by 13 seconds. A fantastic, commanding race for Mounty. Holmes Williams Williams there in second place, ahead of Charlie Huntingford and Ronnie Harris. Philip Sorowiak in fifth, holding off Clayton Edmonds with Zach Turian and Noah Guillory, and retirements from Will Howarth and Ben Ridgewell. On towards the next.
Yep, on towards the next race. So still have one more race coming up later on today for the Extreme 200 boys. Zach Tureen just making his way into the pit lane at the moment. A pretty lonely race from Zach there, but 7th position, still a good result there from him. He'll be very, very happy with that result. As Sylvan Mincy, he'll be hoping to do the triple later on today.
So we move on now to the Extreme 200 class, and you can see that I think that is Richard Holmes Williams. So he's managed to make his way onto the grid for this race. Unfortunately, missing his previous race, but he will be lining up on pole position, I believe, for this race. I'll just double check that in a moment.
Yeah, he is. He's lining up on pole position on the 126 machine. He didn't make the start for the senior Minimoto race, but maybe, just maybe, he was preserving himself for the Extreme 200 class. It'll be Sylvan Mincy on that pole position, but he will be on the front row of the grid. He will have a lot of work to do from that front row though, because Sylvan Mincy, he's looked near unstoppable, but it seems that if anyone can do it, it's going to be the likes well, if we practice our British Talent Cup field, half the field is a British Talent Cup rider here. It's great to see the amount of riders came into race this weekend, because it's going to be Sylvan Mincy on that pole position on the number 4 machine. Richard Holmes Williams will start the race and begin the race from second place. Ronnie Harris will start the race from third, with Charlie Huntingford joining him on the second row of the grid. Clayton Edmonds will begin the race from fifth, with Philip Sorowiak in sixth place. Sorowiak still having a broken wrist from his Silverstone crash. Zach Tureen will start the race from 7th positions. Bright yellow levers with Noah Gilroy starting the race from 8th. Noah Gilroy there in the orange levers, and Aaron Sylvester's levers actually. So Sylvester had a great season in the British Championship, and now gifting some levers to Noah Gilroy. Will Howarth will start the race from 9th, with Ben Ridwell hoping for a better race in the final race of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for this one. So we see all the riders making their way up to the grids and onto the brakes. And there is your poleman, Sullivan Mountsie. He'll be alongside Richard Holmes Williams, and I'm sure we'll see a dramatic battle between these two.
Yep, a dramatic battle indeed. A dramatic battle has begun, with Sullivan Mountsie leading away from the lights and leading away out of turn 1 into turn 2 though. Ronnie Harris makes his way into third, and in front of Huntingford there's Zach Tureen following through on Phil Sorowiak. Clayton Edmonds is just behind Tureen there. So it looks like Richard Holmes Williams is trying to make a move for the race lead. Yes, he is. So now Sullivan Mountsie, he has a battle, he has a challenge, and he has a rival for this race. It's the 126 versus the 4 at the front. It's going to be Huntingford versus Rodney Harris, but there is a new race leader. There is Richard Holmes Williams taking the race lead from Sullivan Mountsie. So Sullivan Mountsie on the number 4, dropping back down to second. The first time we've probably seen something like this all weekend. How is he going to respond? How is he going to fight back? Where is he going to make his attack? I don't think it's going to be long on the number 4 machine. He's racing at Donington Park next weekend, so this is great practice for him, racing on these kart circuits, being accurate, being agile, and putting in laps and getting great competition like we're seeing right now.
Oh, absolutely. Sullivan Mountsie really going for it on Richard Holmes Williams, who he really wanted to put Holmes Williams under pressure. They made their way now in towards the next sequence of corners, and then heading in towards the little flip-flap S's. Through they go, just getting that bike turned in and leaning into the corner, but they make their way now down the Simpson Straight in towards the final chicane, and they're still closer than ever. Holmes Williams will make his way across the line. I think a little slide there from Mountsie, but they're only separated by 0.2 of a second, heading in towards Senna, and Charlie Huntingford currently in third. So he's managed to get ahead of Ronnie Harris. That's really crucial for the 76, but we're just continuing with this battle with Holmes Williams and Mountsie. So I think it will just be a bit of just leaning back for now for Mountsie, but I'm sure there'll be at some point he'll be going on try and claim that lead of the race.
Mountsie had a huge huge moment out of his seat a couple of corners ago, just before heading out of the 180-degree corner. He lost the rear momentarily, but he managed to save it. He managed to keep going. But Richard Holmes-Williams, a 44.903 last time around. That is a new lap record around this Red Lodge circuit. So a new lap record for Richard Holmes-Williams. Now Sullivan Mincy, a 44.828. Sullivan Mincy taking the lap record straight off him. So now it seems this is going to be a race of it. This is going to be a battle for the ages. That is Filzroviak defended from Zach Tureen, but at the front, at the line, 1/10 of a second last time around. There is Ronnie Harris, and there is your race leaders. There is Holmes-Williams under pressure from Mincy. A new lap record for the last 2 laps. It's so impressive. Sullivan Mincy now holding it on the number 4 machine. Who's going to get it this time around? Will it get broken again? Or who is going to make the next move? You would think Mincy or Holmes-Williams can make a mistake. Anything can happen in this race. Will there be another lap record this time around? We'll wait to see. No, into the 45s this time. A little braver, but Sullivan Mincy, he's trying everything.
Oh, absolutely. Really going for it on Holmes-Williams. And Mounty just having a look, seeing if he can do any darts on the inside, dart on the outside, just to distract Richard Holmes-Williams. But he's a tough cookie to crack. It's the 126. They make their way now down in towards the Warren and along the straight, and I'm sure the slipstream will be slightly enough to try and get Mounty on the back of that 126 and just continue to just drag him along down the Simpson Straight. We're heading down and now, and we carry on with this battle, and Richard Holmes-Williams onto the brakes now towards the final corner and heading towards the timing beam and across the line. Sullivan Mounty setting a brand new lap record with a 44.7. So that bike is really going for it. It's in the prime optimal temperatures and in the prime position to mount an attack on the 126.
Yep, the sun is out, the rubber is down on the circuit in all the right places. It's allowed the lap record to get broken 3 times so far in this race, but Richard Holmes-Williams leading the way still by 1/10 of a second. It seems that Sullivan, he's getting a good drive, he's trying everything, but it's not enough. Holmes-Williams, even last season, all year, he's went really well in this Extreme 200 class and in this Red Lodge circuit. It's always been one of his favourites, and this is why, because he's really quick. And Mounty trying once again round turn 2. It looks like Holmes-Williams knows exactly where to place the bike as he sets another lap record, a 44.750 now from Richard Holmes-Williams. So lap record breaking almost every single lap in this race 3. This is the final race of the weekend. This is the race. It doesn't matter if you chuck the bike down the road, you have plenty of time to fix. But Mounty having to back out of that move, it's near impossible to make a move into the entry there. It closes up so much, and you know there's going to be contact if you try.
Oh, it's been absolutely so intense. I just saw Mounty having a look down the inside, but it just wasn't enough. He's still trying to put off Holmes-Williams, but as I said, tough cookie to crack this race leader, and he's really showing it now, placing that bike on the inside, forcing Sullivan Mounty to make a mistake, because Mounty will be pushing as much as he can with 5 laps remaining. So I'm sure Mounty is doing absolutely everything he can, and I wonder how the nerves must be feeling for Richard Holmes-Williams. He must be cool as a cucumber underneath that helmet. They make their way now in towards the hairpin, just zooming out, and we'll latch on to the lead in just a moment. So there they are, making their way through the S. No move made just yet, but I'm still confident that we will be seeing something in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, Mounty's going to have to find something special though on that Moto motorcycle. He raced with Casey Gorman last round. It was close racing. He cracked though during that. Will he keep it this round? Round the outside, 1 lap ago into this right-hand that they're about to head into. He momentarily lost the front. His outside leg came off the foot pedal, but he managed to save it. He managed to keep going once again. Sullivan Mounty's on the limit. Oh, he lost the rear once again. Sullivan Mounty exiting the 180-degree hairpin corner. He lost the rear. He somehow stayed on it. He was out of the seat. The bike was a bucking Bronco, but now he tries again. He tries to close the gap on Richard Holmes-Williams. Has Sullivan Mountsie met his match with 4 laps to go?
Oh, that was so unfortunate. Just a loss of the rear through there, and that's really cost him a lot of time out to number 4, but they'll fire their way towards turn number 1 of the French curve and try the outside once again. Sullivan really likes that outside line. Mountsie will just now try and do any switchbacks he can just to try and get a bit of time, but I think he's lost a little bit of rhythm through this first section of sweeping corners. The head now down towards the road, a little downhill there, so you can use the brakes through there. In towards the sweeping left-hander we go. Mountsie just doing absolutely everything he can, but there's running out of time here with 3 laps to go, and the lap record also the fastest lap being held by his opponent, Richard Holmes Williams, with a 44.7. All advantages look towards the 126, but I don't think this is over just yet, or maybe is it? Because Richard Holmes Williams has gone and set a 44.5. So Holmes Williams really on fire. So maybe tyres have gone on the number 4 there. He seemed to be struggling just a little bit, just starting to etch away, but again, you just saw a back marker in your picture, so maybe that will come into fruition. And I think that was Richard Holmes Williams just saying, please get out the way, I'm in a race battle. And so will Sullivan Mountsie. He'll be very frustrated at the number 34 there, the number 41 of Noah Guillory. So they make their way now out towards the Simpson Straights, and Sullivan Mountsie will be very frustrated. He's lost a little bit of time there. Whoa, that was a big snap there from Sullivan Mountsie, but we head on to the final lap, and I think the tyres have really gone off here. He's been pushing so hard, but it was just not enough for the number 4.
Yep, Sullivan Mountsie, he's got frustrated. He's overriding the bike at the moment. It's so easy to do in these conditions, and the weather and the track is so hot. His tyres are overheated, especially the edge grip of that tyre. It's what he's using the most. He's spun it up one too many times. He's saved it one too many times. His skill, his luck has kept him on board that motorcycle, but it's last lap time now. It's Richard Holmes Williams who has done it. He's beat Mountsie. It's been a long time coming this weekend. Mountie's looked dominant, but Richard Holmes Williams says no on his home ground, and he takes the race win by 1.1 seconds from Sullivan Mountsie. Mountsie, a great race there, a great battle, and great entertainment for everyone at home. He just seemed to override that bike ever so slightly in the final couple of laps and made one too many mistakes, and that gap was built. But there is Charlie Hunter, Ronnie Harris, Sullivan Mountsie, Phillips Robiak and Zach Tureen crossing the line. But Richard Holmes Williams, wow, what a performance.
Fantastic performance there from the 126 at his home event. So he's really proven to be the one to be in the Extreme 200 round, but we'll be bringing you the results in just a moment.
Yep, so it's Richard Holmes Williams who took the race win by 1.1 seconds with Sullivan Mountsie just behind. Charlie Hunterford came home in 3rd, rounded off the podium with Ronnie Harris in 4th place after a slightly steady race free. Phillips Robiak came home in 5th, last year's champion in the Extreme 200 class. That Tureen came home in 6th, with Clayton Edmonds 7th, Noah Guillory 8th, and Will Howarth once again DNFing from the race because he has action to do, and there he is already in the holding area. So back-to-back races, it seems, for him this weekend.